What up, guys and gals? This is Only Joe You Know here, and today I'm going to be bringing you an Elden Ring PvP build. This is a Bleed Aura build, and I should say that it does fantastic in PvP. It can suffice in PvE, although a lot of bosses are immune. I shouldn't say a lot, some bosses are immune to bleed buildup, and it can make this build inadequate in certain areas. I should also warn you that this has a lot of spoilers in it, so if you aren't looking for spoilers, go ahead and click off this video now. I'm going to go ahead and show you what this build is about, and Fire's Deadly Sin is our main incantation for this to work, and then we need Seppuku on our weapon. Doesn't matter what weapon you have, just as long as you have Seppuku on it. And then you just walk up to things and watch them bleed out. And that is pretty much our build. I do want to start by saying that this build is incomplete as I am only level 93. However, as it stands, I have 44 Vigor, 20 Mind, 20 Endurance, and 40 Dex with a requirement of 19 Faith. That is the main and only requirement of this build. At level 150, which is what I plan to get to, I plan to have 60 Vigor, 20 Mind, 41 Endurance, 60 Dexterity, and keep Faith at 19. Just having that extra health and extra stamina is going to help a lot in PvP. But yeah, that's pretty much all our stats are right now. So, I'm going to go ahead and show you what I have, and at the end of the video, I'll show you how to get everything I have. First up, we have a Blood Uchigatana with Seppuku on it. It doesn't matter what weapon you have as long as it has Seppuku on it. Second, we have a seal. Doesn't matter what seal you have. I use the claw mark because it's the first one I picked up. I also use the White Mask and the Lord of Blood's Exultation. I also have Radagon's Soreseal and the Royal Remains Armor. As far as the two Tasselmans, it doesn't really matter what you use. I use Flame Drake because we set ourselves on fire, and then more health on the other. You may be wondering how we have two katanas. I started with one based on the starting samurai class, and I found the other. But the main thing, if you're going to use two katanas, is you want them both to be blood. The blood loss buildup is so much more on blood katanas, it's ridiculous. With the White Mask, it increases your attack damage when blood loss is in the vicinity by 12%, I think it is. And the Lord of Bloods is the exact same thing, but 20%. As far as the Soreseal, it increases our Vigor, Endurance, Strength, and Dexterity by 5, which is more health, more stamina, and a little bit more damage when blood loss isn't an option. And then our Royal Remains Armor replenishes our health when our health is low. It can help a little bit since we set ourselves on fire so much. As far as your physic goes, it doesn't really matter what you have on it. I just find that steadily restoring HP for a time helps negate the fire damage that we do to ourselves, and also significantly negating the first hit you receive can sometimes save you from being one-shot, and it gives us a chance to immediately run to our opponent as they're stuck in animation in order to get close to cause the bleed build up and cause them to die. As far as incantations go, we have two, which is Fire's Deadly Sin and Flame Grant Me Strength. And you really only need Fire's Deadly Sin in order for this build to work. The first incantation we're going to grab is Flame Grant Me Strength, and for this we're going to go to the Church of Vows. I'm sure there is a closer grace point. Ignore my death just now, but I'm sure there's a closer grace point. I don't have it, so I'm starting from the Church of Vows, and we're just going to run pretty much straight east until we can jump off this cliff, and then we're going to head just about straight south, maybe a little southeast-ish, but you're going to see an encampment up ahead. You're going to want to avoid that enemy to the left. They are super annoying. But this little encampment, about in the middle of it, you're going to see a dead body, and just pick it up off that dead body. and it's going to be this one right here, Flame Grant Me Strength. The next and final incantation that we are going to get is Fire's Deadly Sin, and this is required for the build. There's no other way to say it, and it's so good. For this, we're going to have to get to the capital, West Capital Rampart, and once here, what we're going to do is we're just going to walk outside the Grace Point to the right, drop down the little stairs, and then jump off to the left. We're going to go straight into the building, and dead center towards the back of this room, there is a dead body with a mage armor set on it. We're going to ignore that for now, though, and we're going to head to the right, take a left, take another right, and there should be a grace point in here, along with a painting. Go ahead and grab this painting, and then we are going to have to head to the north at the Windmill Heights. If you haven't been to this location, there is a boss here. He's not too difficult, but this whole place in general is just a fantastic place to explore. Once we are at this grace, which is granted from the boss fight, we are going to head pretty much straight south until we get to the 3 dancing ladies here. And we're going to head a little past them to the left. And around here, there should be a guy who gives us the Fire's Deadly Sin. And that's it for the incantations. Alright, first item we are going to show you how to get is the Uchigatana. There are quite a few weapons you can get, but this is the one I'm using, so I'm going to show where to get this item. What you're going to want to do is go just north of here to the Death-Touched Catacombs. This is where the first step is. There's the Death-Touched Catacombs, and we're just going to travel there. And once inside, you're pretty much just going to run straight down and avoid all enemies. You can fight them if you want, but I still haven't even completed this dungeon. I just came here for the Uchigatana. There is one other thing, this corridor that we're about to go down. If you're trying to get back, you may not want to have souls on you because they will get stuck in here, and it can kind of pin you in this area, causing you to die if you try and run back. On this body, there should be the Uchigatana. So next piece of the build that we're going to do is we're going to get the Royal Remains armor set. While we're getting this armor set, we're actually going to get a piece of a medallion, a secret medallion that we need for the White Mask. Now, what we're going to do is we're just going to head kind of northwest, more west of here, and we're going to go under this mountain to this village. Now, once you're here, what we're going to do is we're just going to head straight up the little rampart, and you're going to want to be careful for this enemy up ahead. This enemy, he can be difficult. I had some difficulty with him in this fight. I definitely recommend killing him before you continue to get this secret medallion, because he will be pestering you the entire time if you do not. Especially if you're low level, this fight can just be super brutal. Luckily, I dispatched him decently quickly. In this little tomb, or coffin here, there's going to be an item. I think it's a weapon. But where this man is, there's going to be a pot. Just attack the pot, and then exhaust his dialogue. He's going to give you a piece of a medallion, and once we have that medallion, all we're going to do is we're going to open up our map and head back to the Table of Lost Grace. Once we're back at the Table of Lost Grace, we're immediately going to get invaded, and I recommend fighting him in this little area here. He is going to come from that corridor, but this area gives a little bit more wiggle room where you can actually dodge his attacks if you need to. And once he dies, you're just going to loot him and pick up this armor set. Alright, ignore the character change. I had to set up on a character that did not have Seppuku to show you where to get it. So what we're going to do is we're going to head to the Freezing Lake. And this is pretty far into the game. Hold on, I don't have a horse. Alright. Once you are at the Freezing Lake, head due east to the trees that don't have leaves. It's not too far from this grace point. and you're going to see a little blue trail circling these trees. Just set up somewhere where its path is, and once it runs into your path, go ahead and hit it then. Right now, you can see it's kind of behind me now. There it is. There's the blue trail. So just find somewhere to set up and don't miss several times like I do. And now I'm set up somewhere that is good and I'll actually hit it. And there you go. There's Seppuku. The next piece of the puzzle I'm going to show you how to get is Radagon's Soreseal. This one can be especially difficult for low-level players. So I recommend both just running through all mobs, but I also recommend that you don't have any runes when you go to do this run. But I'll show you where it is on the map, and it's over here by this minor Erd tree at Fort Faroth. Once you're at Fort Faroth, we're just going to enter the fort through the stairs, and again, I would not have any runes on you when you do this. I actually died already in here, and it was, I did it right before I got to the item too, so just a fair warning. Also, be careful when you're going up this ladder. I know you can't really avoid it, but that poison buildup is real. If you do get poisoned, just keep running through it. It'll be fine. Directly ahead of us, once we get up this ladder, is going to be a chest with a medallion in it. It's not a part of the White Mask medallion, but it's still a medallion that I would grab. After that, we're going to run straight past all of this, and we're going to jump down in this little hole. The main important thing is to do this quickly and hit that little barricade right there, and then jump over. Once we do that, we're going to dodge into this little hole, turn around, and on this body right here should be the Soreseal. The main piece of this puzzle is the Lord of Blood's Exultation, and I don't know that this build will work that well without it. It just demolishes. I'm going to go ahead and show you how to get it. It's in the capital. However, it is in the catacombs and not a lot of people know where that's at, so I'm going to show you from the Avenue balcony. Alright, once you're at the Avenue balcony, what we're going to do is we're just going to hang a right and go all the way down here. Again, I wouldn't have a lot of runes on you when you're running here, and I also don't recommend you be too low level for this because you do have to defeat a boss for this. And this boss isn't exactly easy. On this body there should be a rune arc, and then you're just going to open these gates and run down here. You're just going to continue all the way down this hall. Here in a minute, there are going to be some rats. You can basically ignore them and just run right past them. But this boss is kind of difficult to handle, and I definitely don't recommend low-level players attempt this. From here, you're going to see this ladder. Just jump down as far as you can. There is going to be a big bad behind you, but take a left and rest at that grace. This is a good grace to have, and it is the halfway point to the catacombs. After that, we're going to exit, and we're going to take the first right down this hallway. Once you land down here and get to the first wooden platform, we're going to run straight and jump. And then we're going to go a little further down this pipe and jump again. Trying not to get hit down here. I know that's easier said than done. However, these lobsters could one-shot you depending on how much vigor you actually have. Once you're in this little hidey hole, you're going to take the first right, and there's going to be a grace, which is the catacomb grace. Go ahead and rest at that, and once we start this dungeon, you can't come back to it until you defeat the boss. So right ahead is the boss, which you have to unlock by completing the puzzle, and I'm going to go ahead and show you the puzzle. So first thing we're going to want to do is just run straight down this hallway. Do not stop in this area. Jump over the altar because there are enemies that are spawning and enemies up top that are throwing stuff at you. It's not a great time. You're going to want to hang her right here and not go forward. There's an item in there. I don't remember what it was. Also, right here, there's typically fire spewing out. Just patiently wait, kind of duck in here, and you're going to want to go this way first before you deal with the fire. There is a big bad on the right. Just try not to get hit by him. I jumped instead of dodged and got hit, but just run right past him. We have to run this route in order to unlock the secret area, which I don't even know how it unlocks or how that works or why it unlocks, or don't ask me. I was not a developer. I would have made you pull a lever. Anyway, we're going to run all the way down this, and again, typically that's spewing fire. You can just duck to the right there, and then, you know, run in here and do it again. Hit it to lower it, and then hit it again and jump on it to get up. And then, if this path is not open, you're going to have to run that first route again. And then we're just going to run all the way down this. And eventually we're going to get to a lever, and we're just going to pull the lever and then head to the boss room. Once you pulled the lever, just jump straight and run straight into this hallway. You may check if the grace is available on your right, and then head to the left and go defeat this boss. Best of luck. This might be the hardest piece of the puzzle to get, which is the white mask. This involves a storyline, and you have to progress into the game pretty far in order to even unlock the area to get this. But this is also just a fantastic piece of the puzzle to have, and I don't recommend being too low level for this. I think I completed it at level 80, but it was definitely harder than it should have been. But what we're going to do is we first have to complete the Rose Church questline, so we're going to go to the Fallen Ruins of the Lake, and from there we're going to head pretty much just due west, maybe a little north. And there should be an NPC at the front of the church. I don't recommend going inside the church. There isn't a tier there like there is at other churches. There's just a really annoying enemy. But once we exhaust all the dialogue from the NPC that is going to be right about in front of me here, we're going to exhaust all his dialogue. He is going to have us do some PvP. And if he's not there, you're going to want to go back to the first step, and the guy who calls you maidenless, exhaust his dialogue there. And then you can come back to the Rose Church. But exhaust all his dialogue. He's going to have you do some PvP. I think it's 5 invasions. You don't have to win any of them, I don't think. Some people say you have to win at least one, but I've heard other people have no issues by winning none. So try and win at least one if you can. If you already have somewhat of this build set up, it should be easy. Once you've completed your PvP, you're going to come back to him and exhaust his dialogue again. He's going to give you a white piece of cloth that tells you he needs the blood of a maiden on it. The easiest way to get the maiden blood is to go north of here to the 4 Bellfires. Once you load in here, there's going to be a chest at the tallest tower, and we're just going to grab the item in that chest. Should be right by the grace, and it's going to be a sword key, but a special kind of one. And then we're just going to head to this little sword key area to the east. Should be the 2nd tallest tower, and we're just going to use that item on the gargoyle statue, and we're going to portal to the next area. This will take you to a boss area, and the boss here is relatively easy. It is the very first boss you died to. I assume you died to him, because I did. And at level 9, he's pretty hard. But if you're level 60 plus, he's super easy. But you're going to walk through this fog wall here, defeat the boss, and then we're going to go back to the very first starting point of the game, which is just up here, up this ladder, up the stairs, into the church. Once we're into the church, there's going to be a maiden, a dead maiden, that had an item on her when we first started the game. Now, if you've done everything correctly, you should be able to interact with her and obtain her blood. Now, if you've already used this item and can't open the portal at the 4 Bellfires, where my waypoint is right now, there is a church, and I would go to the Bellum Church and travel all the way around here and approach it from the north, headed south, and eventually you'll be able to get to that church right there where there is blood of a maiden. I don't remember the church name, but there is a sacred tear there to increase your flask strength on top of that, which is pretty nice. After that, all we're going to do is we are going to go back to the Rose Church and complete the quest line. We're going to exhaust his dialogue, and eventually he will give you a bloody finger in order to invade other players endlessly, and he is also going to give us a Bloodlord's favor, and from there we're going to have to get the second piece of the secret medallion in order to continue to get the white mask. So what we're going to do is go to Castle Sol. We're going to have to defeat the boss here, which I struggled with this boss so much. It probably took me 20 attempts to finally kill him. But once you're here, get the grace, and then head behind the bot where the boss was, and there should be an elevator right here, which I'm going to have to call. But once you're on the elevator, you can head up, and you're going to see a guy in a chair. Either in front of him or on him is going to be the last piece of the secret medallion in order to get to the area where the portal is to the area where we get the white mask, which I know, very convoluted. But this is the body. Just loot him, pick up the second piece of the secret medallion, and we are on our way. So now that we have both pieces of the medallion, what we're going to do is we're going to head back to the Grand Lift of Rold. And this was kind of tricky. I mean, I may just be dumb, but when I came up here, I kept interacting with the lift, and it just kept taking me to the previous area I was at. What you have to do is you have to use your cycle button in order to switch action and get the hoist secret medallion, and then that will allow you to proceed to the secret area to where we can get to the teleporter to get to the white mask. Once you're here, all we're going to do is we're going to run forward, and eventually we're going to take a left. You can go straight. There is an item back there. I actually don't know what it is, as I ran past this area to get the white mask. But we're going to take a left up the stairs. There's going to be quite powerful enemies here, so if you're low level, just run right past these people, because they hurt. Especially if they get a build bleed up on you, it's bad. There's going to be a giant enemy that spawns right in front of us. Don't be like me and get hit by him falling down. And then we're just going to take a right, and there's going to be a grace. Rest at that grace, and then once you exit this building, we're just going to go straight north until we hit the Consecrated Snowfield Grace. Inner Consecrated Snowfield Grace. Just keep going north until you hit that. It's going to be some dense fogs, a lot of cliffs, just be careful, and eventually you'll get to it. And then we're going to head pretty much straight west, a little north, or a little right of west, and there's going to be 2 invasions between us and our teleporter. The first one is a man-eater, and she invades about right here. She'll knock you off your horse. And then you're going to get invaded. Go ahead and kill her, fight her, and then continue on heading west, kind of northwestish from here. You're going to see 2 very tall trees. Kind of head towards the one on your left. And then once you get to the base of that tree, there's going to be another invasion that knocks you off your horse. Go ahead and fight that guy. I don't remember his name or what he drops, but I know they both drop something, or both give you something. Once you are done with that invasion, wrap left of the tree, and you're just going to keep running to the left. And now we're headed south once we wrap around that tree. avoid that bear to the left and just go up on top of this rock. There is going to be a hero's rune, too, at the end of this, on that dead body right there. But once you're done looting that, just jump off. Don't just fall off because you will die. And then we are just going to take this bloody teleporter. I got stuck here a couple of times, and it kept choosing no by default. I hate when it does that. And then once you're to this area, we are now in the area where the white mask is. So from here, what we have to do is we have to continue down this path. Eventually, we'll get to the Grace. You can kind of see it in the distance right here. We're just going to jump off this, and then jump off that, and there is the Grace. I recommend you rest at that, because this is going to be difficult, and you're probably going to die a few times before you can get this white mask. We're just going to avoid all these enemies. If these red guys try and roll on you, just jump over them. Double jump if you have to, but some of them will grow spikes and try and roll over you, and it's real bad. Especially if you're on a horse, it'll kill you. We're going to hook a left here, and we're just going to run all the way down this river of blood, and we're going to fight 3 nameless enemies, 3 nameless invaders. About right here is where you're going to get invaded, and you're going to want to pull back to about right here, just so we don't aggro an enemy. Fight the first nameless invader right here, and it will make your life so much easier. After that, I'd go ahead and go back, and I'd go ahead and dispatch that first bird, because they're super annoying, and you don't want to try and fight 5 birds and a nameless invader. There's a golden seed right here that you're going to want to pick up, and the second nameless invader somewhere around here. You may have to walk the base of that little mountain in order to do it, but I'd also dispatch that bird. And then the third nameless invader is right here, and that's where you're going to fight him. Definitely kill that bird, because they will follow you across this entire blood lake. But once you kill that third nameless invader, you should get the white mask. Enjoy your bleed setup.